Hello everybody, welcome to my monthly upload on the channel. Yeah, uh, it's been a month since I've last uploaded. I always say I want to upload more and I never do. Like I always only upload once every month or so. I think my last video was a live stream of the first Argentina-Canada game, the opening game of the Copa America. Uh, And I said I was going to try to do a lot of Copa America Euros content, and I never really ended up doing anything on it. But I am here to do a review of Canada's tournament. So as you can see here, Canada, this is a hockey hat. I know I'm wearing a hockey hat right now, but this is a hat from the, I think it was 2007 World Championships or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, so Canada did well. I mean, if you weren't watching the tournament, they finished fourth, which is tremendous for Canada at this Cup America. I mean, like I thought, like making of the group stage would have been like great. Like that would have been my goal for the tournament. Would have been making out of the group stage. Uh, and then they ended up going further. They ended up They ended up winning their quarterfinal match, and they made it all the way to the semis against Argentina, which I feel like is a big step for this Canada team. Uh, anyways, I might go through game by game. So the first game that Canada played was against Argentina. I streamed it. It was 2-0 Argentina. I mean, I mean, Canada were not going to win that game probably, but they did hold on. They played some good defense. Copa was really good. Anyways, I mean, no, Argentina obviously some huge controversy right now, but I'm not gonna talk about that in this video. I'm just gonna talk about Canada's performance at Copa America. Yeah, so Argentina beat Canada in the opening game in Atlanta. Uh, and then I think next game was against Peru, and this was kind of must win. So since the Canada lost to Argentina, they kind of had to get 4 points out of their next six, so winning the draw, which they I mean, so Peru I mean there's a Peru player headbutted Alistair Johnson uh in like about 40 minutes in, didn't get called a foul. Like, what is VAR doing? A headbutt of any kind? Like, I don't care. It wasn't like exactly the worst headbutt in existence. It wasn't like there's a down one where you like wind it up, but it's still a headbutt. It's still a red card no matter what. A headbutt is a red card, and it didn't even get called a foul. Didn't even get a yellow. Didn't even get a yellow for a headbutt. Didn't even get called a foul. It was a goal kick to Canada or whatever. It's dumb. Anyways, but I mean, they did end up getting a red card later in the game though. It was a pretty dirty challenge on Schaffelberg. I think it was by a guy named Araujo on Peru, but that was about 60 minutes in, and so we should have been up 10 men for 20 minutes, the whole 20 minutes, but leading up to that, but and then they would have been down to 9 men, and that would have been pretty brutal. But yeah, I do feel like I don't want to say it was a makeup call, but I mean, it was a red. I guess it was a pretty dirty challenge, landed right on Schaffelberg's ankles. Anyways, but David ended up scoring with about 15 minutes left to go, and then Crepeau made a couple of good saves. In added time, he made one great one off of I think it was Cueva, maybe? I don't know. I don't quite remember. The game was like a month ago. uh, anyways, the next game was against. So we won that one, but it wasn't necessarily like a great game. Like we could have played better. We got a little lucky. We were up up to 10 men, and we didn't even really play that well. Up to 10 men. I mean, we did enough though to win the game. I will say we took advantage of them being down to 10 men, and David scored, and we won. So that's all that really matters. And so the last group stage game was against Chile, who were on 1 point because they Peru and Chile drew in the first game of the group stage, and Argentina beat Chile game before. So Chile knew they needed a win to go through, and we knew all we needed was a draw. So we just kind of locked it down on defense. Definitely didn't help that one of the Chile players got a red card 40 minutes in. That one was a little iffy. I'm not sure if there was I don't think it was a red. I mean, it was a second yellow, but it was kind of weak, if I'm be honest. And Bombito, our center back, did get away with an elbow early in the game too that wasn't caught by VAR. But I mean, like, I guess you can say it's redemption for the freaking headbutt that happened in the game before, and nothing happened because of it. But yeah, but that really did harm Chile because they even at the end of the game they never really looked like going forward, which means, and it was a 0-0 game. It was pretty boring for a neutral, but it wasn't really that boring for me watching it. Anyway, so they were on to the knockouts, and they were looking. I mean, even finishing second, we did not have to play a powerhouse in the quarters. We had to play because Venezuela topped the ever group with 3 points. 3 points, no, 9 points. 3 wins, 9 points. So we ended up playing Venezuela. Argentina ended up topping the group with 9 points in Canada's group. So then Canada Venezuela play. And it was Canada played a great game there. Schaffelberg scored about, I think, 15 minutes in, and they were dominating the whole game. But yeah, and also before that game, one of our better players, Tajon Buchanan, broke his leg in training, so it's kind of like, oh, we'll do it for our teammates, sort of thingy. Anyways, so yeah, Schaffelberg scores 15 minutes. We go up 1-0, and looking pretty good. Up until like 65th minute, we had like a long throw, I think, where we got like some of our defenders up, and we ended up losing the ball, and the ball came quickly the other way, or maybe was it a corner? It might have been a corner. It was a corner or a long throw or something like that. We had a bunch of players up, and it came the other way, and Venezuela guy Rondon, Crepeau was like way at a net, and so he was like rushing back, and Rondon just managed to get like separated enough from the defender Bombito that he was just able to like get a shot off, and he like lobbed it from 40 yards out over the head of Crepeau perfectly into the bounced and hit the top of the bounced and right up top shelf. Yeah, it was perfect. It was a pretty perfect shot. I mean, it sucked because we were dominating most of that game, and yeah, it was kind of a big turnaround, but we still played well. We probably should have won it an open play, if I'm gonna be honest. But we didn't. It went to penalties. So the first player score, Rondon David, and then the Venezuela player missed. But then Miller took maybe the worst penalty I've ever seen. It was maybe not the worst penalty I've ever seen, but it was brutal. It was so far over the bar. It wasn't even close. And then the Venezuela player scores after that. Then Monbicho scores. And then Crepeau saves one, and then so we have a chance to take the lead back and put the pressure on. We have the chance to take the lead and put the pressure on Venezuela. But Eustaquio shoots, and it's stopped by the Venezuela keeper, which sucks, which sucked. And so we had 2 chances to take the lead in that shootout, and we weren't able to do it. And then the Venezuela player scored, and so it's all on the captain Alphonso Davies. Now, if you guys remember the 2022 World Cup, Alphonso Davies, Canada earned a penalty 10 minutes into the opening game against Belgium. Canada in a penalty. Davies took it, and it was saved by Courtois. And so that was, I think, it might have been Davies' only ever penalty for Team Canada, and it didn't really go so well. But this one went pretty well. He struck it really well into the top corner, like full on confidence, and yeah. And so we were tied. Now we go to an extra penalty round, and then Crepeau saved another one, his second of the penalty shootout. I think he was one of our best players all tournament, and this penalty shootout showed it. And then finally, we won the game. Is Ismael Kone, I think he's 22, 21 or 22. He put it away as a comp penalty, sent the keeper the wrong way, and we went 4-3 on pens. Well, 1-1, an open play, and then 4-3 on pens. So we're through to the semifinal against Argentina, but once again, I mean, it's Argentina. They're the world champions. They were just a step above us. Like, we looked good. Like, we had a good start to the game, I feel. And, well, we had some chances within the first, 10, 15 minutes, and then Argentina just kind of took over. A little bit of a controversial first goal, as there was kind of maybe a foul against Argentina, a little bit before the goal, and then our defenders just switched up. The ball was played through, switched off. Ball was played through to Alvarez, and he just put it through the legs of Crepeau. And then it's only 1-0 though at this point, so we're it still goes fine. And then again, second half, I feel like my thoughts on this game was if we can just keep it within 1-0 to the very end, and maybe within the final five minutes, just throw the kitchen sink at it if you keep it to 1-0. But I think 2-0 is game over, and it ended up being 2-0 5 minutes into the second half, which is just too bad. The ball was just switched off again off a corner to Paul. Crossed it, and we cleared it originally, but came out to Fernandez, which, I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of controversy around Fernandez and the Argentina team right now, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about this. Fernandez took the shot, and then Messi kind of had a little toe poke. Originally looked offside, but then you look at the corner of the screen, you see there's never Canada defender there. And it was Messi's first and only goal of the tournament was that goal. And, yeah. And then, with about 60 minutes in, 2-0, the Paul, just it was brutal. It was so much rolling around and diving from DePaul. It was disgrace. Yeah, and for what I thought really funny was one of the most humorous moments of the whole tournament was when Kone kind of fed up with, because this is the second or third time that Paul was doing this whole thing, shenanigans of getting fouled, quote unquote, and then rolling around the ground. Kone kind of kicked the ball at his back, and he reacted like he got shot. It was a little toe poke at his back. It wasn't he freaking plowed the ball. And DePaul was just rolling around on the ground for another few minutes, and yeah, and we lost that game. I wasn't expecting the win. Luckily in Copa America there was a third place game, and a third place game we were playing is against Uruguay, and so third place game against Uruguay. It went really well for Canada. I mean, it didn't start out so good. Bentancur scored 8 minutes in, and surprisingly, not a lot of the Uruguay players were suspended after that whole crowd brawl against Colombia. I keep saying Argentina. Not every South American country is Argentina, against Colombia, but I mean, I guess it was deemed maybe they were I think they were protecting their families or whatnot. Anyways, none of them got suspended. Nunez, who was the one I think would have gotten suspended, because he was the one who just went into the crowd and just decided to punch with all the Colombia fans. He wasn't trying to de-escalate the situation. But anyways, he didn't get suspended, but he really didn't have that much of an impact on this game. Nunez, he got subbed out for Suarez at halftime. Yeah, so Bentancur scores 8 minutes in, and then Kone, once again, the 22-year-old midfielder who actually signed for Marseille during the tournament. managed to put away a pretty very good, like, kind of scissor kick, I guess is what you call it. It's not really a bicycle kick since he didn't land on his back and both feet weren't off the ground, really. Kind of, I don't know. But it was a really good finish. He kind of just, like, dinked it over the keeper. Keeper was caught in no man's land. He was, like, in between going out for the ball and staying in net, and then Kone just caught him out. And it was a very good finish, one of the goals for the tournament. And Kone had a brilliant game, which is why it's sad, obviously, what happened later with Kone in this game. Anyways, and we were playing this game with, mind you, like, not any of our starters. Davies didn't start. David didn't start. Eustachio didn't start. Laren didn't start. Crepeau didn't start. I think Bombito started, although... Yeah, I think Bombito still started, but I think 7 out of our 8 or 11 starters didn't play in that game. We had a 19-year-old center back for the first portion of the game, and we were tied 1-1 against Uruguay, which is really good for this Canadian national team. Anyways, and then our starters came on around like minute 60, so Davies and David came on. Davies didn't quite have the impact on the game I thought he would. Davies didn't have his greatest tournament here, but certainly wasn't really about him. Anyways, about 80 minutes in, Kone gets in, takes a shot, goalkeeper saves it, but the rebound comes right to David, who scores his second of the tournament. And I don't really think this was David's greatest tournament either, but he did. He was the only player in Canada to have scored more than one goal, so props to him. It was a good goal. It was a decent finish, and we had the lead. But instead of like trying to park the bus, we played with too much pride towards the end of that game, and instead of trying to lock it down in D, we decided we wanted to go out and score another goal, and we got too many bodies up. And like even I think it was this 91st minute, our goalie, who's in net, St. Clair, made a great save off of Suarez, and looked like, oh my god, our goalie just bailed us out. We went the other way, and then trying to get the ball up the field, we like lost it again. They came the other way. I don't know who played the ball, but as the ball was played through to Jimenez, and then Jimenez centered it to Suarez, who had like so much room, and like nobody in sight. He was going to easily bury that chance, which, you know, I mean, like, I'm not too upset about that goal. I mean, it's Suarez's last ever international game. It's a good sending off for him. So he scores that, and then the game goes to pens. And then on pens, I mean, Uruguay just, like, took all their pens so well. Like, all 4 of their pens were great. Like, our goalkeeper, Sinclair, had no chance of stopping them. But David scored the pen for us. And then, I forgot who took second. Maybe it was Bombito again? I don't know. But Kone took third, and Kone, who had such an incredible game, scoring that goal and, like, taking the shot that ended up leading to David's goal. And just the penalty got saved. It was not a great pen. It was like his pen against Venezuela, except he didn't send the keeper the wrong way. So the keeper was easily able to make the save, and then Uruguay just took over. And now we have one more chance. So Davies, if he made this pen, would mean St. Clair would have one more chance to stop it and keep the game going. But Davies must have not been watching the Argentina-Ecuador game, because he tried to do a Panenka, and he did the exact same thing Messi did, which was hit the crossbar. And Davies hit the crossbar, and game over. I mean, Uruguay win on pens. But whatever. I mean, it's a third-place game. There's not much of a... It's not like it's the final where there's a big difference between first and second. It's just the difference between third and fourth. But, yeah, not a great way to end the tournament, especially for Davies, who I really feel like was not our best player that tournament, even though he should be our best player. Like, I don't really feel like he got on the ball enough. I know he was playing at left back, which I know, and I know he likes to play further forward for Canada. But Marsh was saying he likes Davies playing in his Byron position, which is left back. And, yeah, Davies didn't have his greatest tournament. This was not a good end to that tournament. Anyways, but this tournament wasn't really about Davies and David, since we already knew those two guys were great, and like some of the other players. This was about like the even younger players than Davies and David, which I'm not saying that. And Davies is like 23, and David's probably like 24. This tournament was about the even younger guys, so like Schaffelberg and Kone, who had like breakout performances in this tournament. Uh, yeah. So that was kind of my review of all the games. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the future of this team. So the future of this Canada team looks really good, if I'm going to be honest. This performance at Copa America was better than I ever expected them. Like we put up a decent fight against Argentina, even though we didn't really win, even though we didn't win. And we put up a really, really good fight against Uruguay, even though we won on penalties. We were really unlucky to not won that in regular time. And considering, like our starter, like 6 or 7 out of our 11 usual starters weren't even playing in the game against Uruguay. So yeah, this team's looking really good heading into 2026, a home World Cup. The big turnaround from like 2 months ago is crazy, and it's all Marsh, to be perfectly honest. Like Marsh has been a great coach, and yeah, he's taken this team was in shambles 2 months ago. The organization was like bankrupt. We had, I think, Biello as our coach, which he's as much as he is, I know he used to play for Canada. I obviously give respect for him, but he's not a good coach. Really, I didn't watch all the Canadian friendlies, but I watched their game against Trinidad to get into this tournament, and it was bad. Like this team is not well coached, but now they're well coached by Marsh, and now they can actually compete with some of the best teams in the world. Hopefully, in like 5 years' time, maybe. Who knows? Maybe they can make a decent run into like round of 16 at this year's World Cup. I have confidence, especially with players like Schaffelberg and Kone. It's going to get better, and like players like Davies and David and Laren are all going to mature and become leaders with this team. Anyways, yeah, so the future of this Canada team looks good. I think our next Canada games are, I think they play the U.S. in September, and I think they might play Mexico as well. Anyway, so a pretty great tournament from Canada. Not a great tournament in general, though, if I'm going to be honest. The Copa America tournament was so poorly run from, like, the start with, like, Argentina against Canada at halftime. Argentina teams came out, like, really late. And, like, Scaloni got a one-match ban for it, actually. All the way down to the final with the delayed game and the freaking fans breaking in. There's Colombia fans going through vents. It was insane. Like, my God, this is... CONMEBOL did such a terrible job of running this tournament. But that's for a different video. Anyways, see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hopefully Canada do really well in 2026. And I'm sure I'll be talking more about Canada ahead of that tournament anyways. Alright, see you guys. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.